there's sort of two things to watch. One, for us, European banks down 18% on Friday, down another 6% yesterday. When you have volatility that is that significant, you always sort of start to wonder, right, from a financial contagion standpoint. But the second one is just the economics of Brexit, the sort of stalled nature of business investment, of business growth. I think that potentially feeds back into the real economy, even back into the U.S. economy. I think it's something for us to watch for.
You know, the stalled nature and the slowness, there are two camps. The business leaders we talk to, the traders we talk to, investors all say, look, we want this settled and we want it settled soon.
Right.
Politicians say we want to take our time because right now tempers are hot. We'd like to see if we can ease our way through to something that's maybe a little less drastic. What do you think about the politicians' view on that?
Well, that's their view. I think they're not necessarily worried all that much about market price outcomes. So for markets, you want certainty. You want to be able to look forward.
Even if it's bad news, even if it's lower trading or higher trading barriers, even if that's the case, you'd rather just know it and deal with it?
The reality is there aren't a lot of great outcomes. You could go quick. And if you're erecting trade barriers and so forth, that isn't necessarily market friendly. I think if you go slow and it's particularly dragged out, that's not exactly market friendly either. So, you know, for us, when we look at markets right now, we're not particularly excited because remember, the S&P right before Brexit was literally seconds away from an all-time high. It was right there. So we've lost 100 points very quickly. But still, we're
almost
at
1,000 points in the Dow.
Right. Yeah, so we've lost a lot very quickly, but we were starting from such a high point that still there's plenty to give back here. So that's where we're concerned.
All right, we'll dig into the Euro banks in a moment, but David, I want to get your thoughts too. Just what you think about where the markets stand. Is it looking cheap to you after this kind of a rebate, or are you just too nervous to see what comes next?
So it's beginning to look interesting. You know, the key issue for us continues to be, is earnings growth going to materialize in the second half of this year? And the two big headwinds for earnings have been a stronger dollar and lower energy prices. And now we're seeing another bout of dollar strength.
Exactly.
In the background, you have rising wages. And so I ask myself, you know, is this going to be a headwind which materializes for U.S. profitability at a time where the pre-existing headwinds were just beginning to subside? I think we need to see how that plays out before we know if there's really being value created.